You know, I gotta give this latest episode of Tower God some praise. I still have many of issues with this season, and that's not gonna change before this season wraps up, I'm convinced. But the reveal of what they did with Bam, and the Thorn, and the living weapons, is actually pretty damn cool. Like, this is a pretty good bombshell. So if you look at a character like Kang, right, and how, like, these, like, living weapons get kind of merged with, you know, a human at the end of the day, you know, they still remain in control if it works out. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty who don't survive the process, but at the end of the day, our boy throwing around his devil fist is in control. So Fug basically wanting Bam, who apparently has the best devil inside him, it's a reasonable suspicion to be like, hey, what if we give, you know, this Thorn, this weapon to this kid, he could easily betray us. Reasonable assumption, and my understanding of it is basically instead of putting the weapon inside a person, it's almost like taking the soul of Bam, the consciousness of Bam, and putting it in Thorn. So basically, Fug remains in control with his power and rip Bam. Which is pretty cool, the more you think of it. Because when Fug starts talking about how they're going to eliminate all of Bam's friends, you're thinking, well, what reason would Bam have to continue to work with them? The whole reason he has is because of blackmail. Well, bitch ain't going to have any body to do shit with anyway, so I guess that makes a lot of sense. I got full live reactions over on Patreon if you want some full and thought of this Tower of God greatness over there exclusively. I really am enjoying the second core. I don't think my opinion will change from this is a weaker and lesser season than Season 1. I think that will be I think that's my thought until the very end. But Core 2 has made up for Core 1 tenfold over. Last week, the ending with Rack, just beautiful, emotional. It's kind of funny because on one hand, I think, honestly, if you just send Rack to deal with Fug, we wouldn't have a Fug within 2 minutes. But then on the flip side, Dorothy can carry off Rack like he's a small bag of candy. But I think if he's in his tall gator form, packs a mean punch, but you know what? It's just wholesome. I love that reunion. I really think a lot of issues would have been solved if Rack would have just, I'm telling you, instead of having Kun, had Rack with Rachel, we wouldn't have a Rachel anymore. That boy would have bit her head off and no one would have shed a tear over that. But the thing about Season 2, and I think most importantly, the thing about this workshop battle arc, is I think even if I would have read it, I don't think I would have had the same hype as a lot of Source readers who walked into Season 2 being like, damn, like the workshop battle arc. I've seen it, one of the best arcs, one of the craziest arcs, one of the most anticipated arcs, and I do think it's a good arc. And like I said at the start of this video, very cool reveal with Bam, but I just don't see myself really changing to him. And it's not even like specifically because of the characters. We've talked about that plenty on the channel, how I don't think a lot of the new Season 2 characters are anywhere close to being as utilized as well as the Season 1. But at the same time, I don't know, I feel like this arc isn't necessarily for me in the way that it is for some Tower of God fans, but not in the way that it makes me like, oh, I should drop the show because I don't like it. No, like, I still have a lot of things I like about this show. I like the idea of the Violet Bam plotline. I like the idea of the Fug separating Bam from his people and his people trying to bring him back. Bam being the ultimate prize. Like, it's a good arc. I just don't see it as this excellent arc. And sure, did I read the source material? No. But the number of times people have told me I would change my tune if I only read it, and then I read it and I'm like, it's a little bit better. I feel like this is one of those cases. The thing, though, that I've been saying a lot since we kind of got past the halfway of Core 2 is that I'm excited for a Season 3. And I do think they will make a Season 3. I mean, at the end of the day, as much as there is rants and hate towards Season 2, it's a very streamed season. Meaning, if people watch it, even if it's all negativity being thrown at it, it's going to get more. So that's good for me because I do want to see where the story goes. And I think some of the Season 2 characters who have been, you know, a little weaker for me have picked up in recent memory. And honestly, I want to see where Wangnan goes because he really hasn't been utilized that well in Season 2, if I'm being honest. I've mentioned this before and I kind of want to expand on it. I like Wangnan as a character. He started out strong for me and I said, oh, in another show, you wouldn't need a Bam. He would just be your guy. but I just feel like he doesn't do a lot outside of following other people's orders. So I think he's the type of character who, if we get continuous focus on, season 3 is when he's really going to pick up for me in terms of being utilized, because I like his personality. He's not one of those characters that I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for him not to be annoyed. No, like, I like his personality, I like his fighting style, I'm just waiting for his big moment, you know? And I kind of feel like we haven't got many, because most of his big moments are surrounded by other people doing things or telling him to do certain things, right? Like, it's kind of how I'm feeling. But the final hurrah of this battle arc is actually kind of cool. So they divide the island into 2 sides. We got, you know, Fug on one side versus another group, and then I think they said there's 8 groups on the other side of the island, and how basically you can summon people. It's kind of like it reminds me of those video games where you have to, like, do some sort of objective where it's like, okay, wait out the timer. In this case, it's 5 minutes to summon someone. Granted, there's no timer at all. If the round's over, you can just lickety-split summon everyone over. It's a pretty cool idea. It's very video game feeling, and I enjoy it for that. Overall, though, I think the best part of this episode is really the final few minutes of this episode, and how it kind of reveals what Bam's entire purpose actually is, and why Bam is ultimately the prize at the end of the rainbow here. And it's nice because we're getting closer and closer to a proper, like, reunion. Like, Bam can't even pretend not to be Bam anymore. Rack made damn sure of that. And Dorsey's out here saying, we're going on a date if you're making me carry off the Gator Boy. So we're closer and closer, but there is death flags. I mean, Kang's up in the air if he makes it out alive, because I forget his exact framing of how he said it, but like, hey, when this is all said and done, we should do this. It feels a little death flaggy, but at the same time, that could be a complete misdirect red herring. But someone probably will die. I'm just not sure who. As long as it's not Rack. You could actually kill anyone else. You could kill Bam off. I'd be okay with that. Give Wangnan the shot of controlling the ship. But if you touch Rack, I will ruin Christmas. I will be worse than the Grinch. I will make it my damn mission to ruin everyone's holiday season, because Rack deserves the goddamn world. Make Rack a Squishmallow and I will buy it. Overall, decent episode, great reveal, but we'll see how they wrap it up with the last 4. Thoughts down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll give you a video shout out. So today we got Project 7, Emma K-Pop, Sandra Nuns, Mobita, Feather, the Lyrical G, and we also have Andrew Stevens. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.